Alrighty, good evening, everyone, and let's go over internal family systems. Now, this model I actually enjoyed. I did just a slight bit more of research on this model, so it can. It's not like it's different or anything, but when I studied from Valeni's book for this model, I believe, and it was the information is much different from when I did research on it with different studies and found some different information. So if anything looks a little different from any book that you've studied, that's okay, because now you have some extra information to go off of. Okay, so let's jump right in. The therapist's stance of working with the internal family systems model: curious, compassionate. There is no diagnosing in this model. They are respectful, they are collaborative, and they are also patient, right? There are no bad or maladaptive parts in each of us. I will explain the parts in depth, so don't be like, what are parts? We're going to go through what the parts are, okay? So even when the therapist is working with the client, the therapist has a dialogue between the self and the parts. The therapist will also facilitate sessions, but they are not going to be really big on, you need to change, this is what you need to do, this is what you're doing, this is what you need to stop doing. That's not going to happen, right? It's all about what the client feels like they are ready for, okay? The goals of therapy: access and strengthen the self. There is a core self in each of us. That is what this model is about. Core self in each of us that are what? It is the center of us. It is the inner parts of us. But then our core self, we have to find whichever part is going to become the internal leader. And the internal leader is the one that heals and guides the other parts. Okay? Stay with me. It'll start to make sense when we go over the parts. Another goal of this system is to unblend the parts from the self. It's either unblend or you are going to be separating the anxious protector or the angry firefighter. Now, those are parts. Once I get to the parts, it will make more sense. Okay? Building trust and relationship with the other parts of us. There are no good, there are no bad, there are no maladaptive. There are parts of us, right? But then we have to help our clients get to know the other parts better without feeling afraid of them and feeling shameful, okay? And the way that we do that is we have to have the internal dialogue so that the rest of our other parts can then eventually reveal themselves to show us what their roles are. Okay? I get it. I like this model, but it wasn't one of my favorites to learn and understand. Okay? Now, there are a lot of goals for this model. Like I said, I was like, there has to be more to this model than what is in this book because I wanted a deeper understanding of it. So I did some digging, I did some research, and there is so much more to this model than what you would actually believe, okay? Another goal is understanding the role and the function of each part. What does the exiles do? What does the firefighters do? Those are the parts that I'm talking about. So then, now you're not always so caught up in, God, what's wrong with me? Why does this? Why am I? Why? It changes from that, right? So then, what is this part of me trying to stop me from doing? What is this part of me trying to protect me from? Okay? The heal exiles. Now, the exiles are what? Those are the ones that are deep down. They're deep down. We push them down. They are the one that's carrying what? The hurt, the pain, resentment, shame, trauma. Those are the exiles, and we'll go more into that later, right? Now, the managers and the firefighters, again, these are the parts. I will go deep into the parts, but we got to transform them. We have to help the protective parts, right? We have to get them to relax and to get the more healthier roles once the exiles have healed themselves. So the exiles, again, that's the trauma. That's the shame, the resentment. But once they have healed, we have to help the ones that are critical, controlling, defensive, right? We have to help those, okay? Now, those parts, critical, the controlling ones, impulsive ones, defensive ones, rude, disrespectful, those are the ones that are stuck. They're stuck, right? They're stuck from our trauma that we've had, right? But if we can transform the protectors, right, which are the managers and the firefighters, we have to help protect the parts that are controlling, impulsive, defensive, rude, disrespectful. We can get them to relax, right, and adopt more healthier roles once the exiles have healed themselves. As crazy as it may sound, it will make sense, okay? Now, here are our parts of ourselves. Our exiles, like I said, these are the ones that we hold deep, deep down within us. We don't want them on the surface. We suppress them, right? And why do we suppress them? Because we need that in order to protect ourselves. That's the trauma, the shame, hurt, pain, defensiveness, whatever the case may be, abuse, whatever the case may be. The exiles push those down far enough to suppress it in order to protect the system. But take a look at this, because now we have the managers. These are the parts that try to control our emotions and the situations that are going to prevent the exiles from coming back to the surface. Our managers are the ones that do that. And the way that the managers do that is we have to be what? Controlling. We have to be perfect. We have to make sure that I'm not going to make this mistake again or to do this same thing again that is going to trigger those exiles from coming back to the surface. We don't want them coming to the surface. So we are going to try to control situations in order for them to stay deep down, suppressed, hitting all the way down. We don't want them. Managers are our day-to-day parts that helps us keep the exiles from coming to the surface. Okay? Firefighters, right? When the managers do not do what they are supposed to do, our firefighters have to be triggered to help us. Okay? They are going to distract. They are going to try to make it seem as though it's fine, it's okay. You're numb to this by now when our exiles are triggered. Okay? Now, remember, those exiles should never come to the surface because our managers keeps them from coming. But when our managers fail to do what they are supposed to do, the firefighters have to step in to do the job of the managers, right? And when the managers can't do what they're supposed to do, the firefighters are going to come in and they're going to do what? You might be angry, you might be upset, you might dissociate, or you might go back and do some of the things that you once did. But realistically speaking, if the managers do what they're supposed to do, the firefighters do not have to come out and help at all. But when they do, and you are triggered from a past trauma, you might dissociate. When the managers fail to do what they are supposed to do, and the exiles make it to the surface, you might come on as being irate, enraged, and can't handle that situation like you are supposed to if the managers would have helped in the first place. Those are the parts of ourselves. Okay? I hope that makes sense. Our exiles are in the basement. Keep them in the basement. They gotta stay in the basement. They are protecting us, right? Protecting us from the pain, protecting us from the trauma. Keep them in the basement. Now, the managers, they're about on that second floor up there. They're gonna keep those exiles in the basement, right? But if those managers can't keep those exiles in the basement, those exiles are going to come up to the first floor, and now the firefighters are going to have to come in. I hope that makes sense. Okay, now these are the key terms. Self, that's who you are. Confident, compassionate, funny, silly, humorous, whatever the case may be. That is the healing leader of the system. Okay? Self energy. This is what? The qualities of self. Calm, curious, compassionate, confident, creative, courageous, connected, and clear. 8 different C's. Calm, curious, compassionate, confident, creative, courageous, connected, and clear. That's self energy. Use it. Okay? Parts. This is our inner voices, our emotions, and our beliefs. Everyone has parts. Each and every one of us, according to the internal family system, each and every one of us has parts. And we also have an eternal system. This is the full network of a person's parts, the interactions, who's led ideally, who does what. Okay? Now, this is the phases of therapy, and it is a lot of phases of therapy. First phase, this is the beginner phase, parts mapping, noticing and naming, unblending the techniques, tracking the sensations, and assessing the self. We are simply doing what in the beginning phase? Identifying, labeling the parts. Are you aware of your emotions? Are you aware of the shifts that you are having? Helping the client just, you know what? Take a step back, because take a step back from the parts that seem to dominate, and we have to give them a different space, right? Where do these parts live? In what part of the body? This is you being aware. So like when you have that trauma response, where is that trauma response triggered in your body, right? And then it is okay. You need to feel. You can access yourself by inviting the client to observe the different parts. You're aware of it. Same way as where does that trauma reveal itself in your body? Access yourself, right? Okay. And then this is the middle phase. This is your internal dialogue. Remember when I talked about getting to know the different parts of you, right? Asking for permission of the parts before you start working with that trauma, the exiles, right? Check in with the managers and see how you are controlling those exiles. And when the managers don't control the exiles, what is the firefighter then coming out to put out, right? Okay. And if you see, there are certain questions that you ask the part, because remember, the therapist is going to dialogue with the self and the other parts. Okay. So validation and appreciation. We all have parts of ourselves that we have to acknowledge. I get that this is a part of me. And then at the same time, thank you for protecting me, but what am I protecting, right? Thank you for trying to protect me, but what part of me am I protecting? Which part is me am I protecting that's in the basement, right? And then again, getting to know that part. What is that part's role? Just like I got finished saying, what do you want? Like, who are you? Like, who are you? What part of me is this part of me protecting? Okay? Stay with me. This is the last one. This is the late phase of therapy. Witnessing the exile. We all have a story. We all have a journey, right? But in that story, in that journey, there's healing, and there's going to be a witness to the healing, right? That exile that's in the basement, we got to clear that basement out, right? Because imagine those managers are working hard every single day to keep those exiles in the basement. We have to clear that basement out. We got to heal the exiles. See, I said it was all going to come around and it was going to start making sense. Well, at least I hope I'm making sense, right? We have to heal the exiles, okay? And then invite that exile to leave. Once it's healed, it's got to go. It's got to come to a safer place. It has to go to a safer place. Invite the exile to leave that original memory or that trauma scene that you seem to play over and over again, and it has to come to a safer place. Like I said, the managers are tired. Give the managers a break, okay? Unburdening the ritual. Help the part release beliefs, emotions, or the trauma. You need an emotional release. Let it go. You gotta let it go. That basement down there with those exiles, it's filling up. And each and every day, it is harder for the managers to keep them in that basement. It gets harder and harder for you to keep those exiles in that basement when all you gotta do is release them. An emotional release, right? And then it's just like you have that preferred narrative. There's a new role. What does this part rather be? Well, how can this part serve a better purpose for me? And reintegration. Now we're going to bring all those parts together. The exiles have been healed. The managers can take a day off or a few, right? And then the firefighters, if the managers doesn't have anything that they need to control, what are the firefighters going to do? We have the parts. Each part will heal, and then another part will start to heal the other part, and so forth and so on. I hope this made sense. Like, it really does take a while, but once you go through the entire model, it has a flow to it. Some of the terms and stuff that it discusses can be quite like, what does that even mean? The goals of the therapy is kind of like, oh, what does that even mean? It was fun learning about this theory. It really does make sense once you like really wrap your mind around it. And I hope I made plenty sense as I'm teaching this. If anybody has any questions, comments, or concern, or if you feel like something I said is at fault, it's wrong, it's incorrect, please let me know. But I cannot taught this model the way that I taught it to myself. Leave me a comment, leave me a message, and do not forget, like and subscribe and share this video to anybody that would like to understand this model in a deeper aspect. Thank you all.